The reason why I'm still buying Casper as of right now, despite the price, not doing well at all, is because I believe that, first of all, the lower something is, the more room it has to grow. And also on top of that, I do believe that when it comes to this, it's such a perfect opportunity, hypothetically, for me to lower down my average cost. Because keep in mind, right, Casper is so low in price to the point that if, let's say, it were to go to the price of $2 during this bull run, that right there is around a 170x from here. I mean, could you imagine that? I mean, now, of course, right, nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee, but if, for instance, if I were to put $1,000 into Casper right now, and let's say, for instance, it were to go to the price of $2, at that point, I would have managed to turn my $1,000, hypothetically, into around 170,000. Now, of course, that's just a hypothetical scenario. That's definitely not a guarantee, but I think that, if anything, visualizes just the scale in which Casper could hypothetically reach. And it's not like $2 is too crazy, by the way. If it were to go to the price of $2, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $25 billion. Not too bad. We've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion. And also on top of that, we've seen BNB reach over 100 billion. We've also seen Shiba Inu reach around 40 billion. So this is kind of like peanuts in the grand scheme of things. However, if let's say we tone things down a notch, let's say like $1, right? When it comes to Casper, let's say 50% of my target, hypothetically. That right there is still around an 85x from here. So again, right, that's hypothetically turning $1,000 into 85 grand. Let's say if I were to use the previous example again, but this time $1. I mean, this is how crazy Casper is. It's so oversold, and it's not like it's necessarily bad or anything like that. It's just that the whole crypto space wasn't doing that well to begin with. But then you combine that with the fact that not too long ago, there was like the security breach that got fixed, by the way. But even despite that, that was like kind of a perfect storm that made Casper just, basically go to around 1 cent in price, which is still hovering as of right now. But just imagine like 6 months from right now, a year from right now, things could be so different. At one point, ADA, the native token of Cardano, was hovering around a couple cents. What happened? It did absolutely amazing in 2021. So when it comes to Casper, it's really giving me these vibes. So when I take a look at something like Casper, the fantastic thing about it, just like I mentioned even in my previous video, is that it feels like a meme coin in terms of its potential upside. I'm not saying in terms of fundamentals, but again, in terms of potential upside, it feels like a meme coin because you take a look at how usually doing like over a 100x or like doing over a 50x even, for instance, is typically reserved for like these meme coins, right? In some cases. But the crazy thing about it is that we have a layer 1 blockchain that's enterprise optimized, but then it feels like, again, the upside is like a meme coin. So it's kind of crazy to think about, really. Hypothetical upside feels like a meme coin, but then fundamentals feels like, basically like a Solana or a Cardano. Kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, that's just the way I view it. So when it comes to Casper, that's of course the first reason why I decided to buy it, or should I say why I'm still even buying it as of right now. Reaching the price of $2, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Even $1, I think is hypothetically easy peasy, but only time will tell again. But again, I'm in the world of cryptocurrencies to look for potential upside, and that's why I love Casper so much. Hypothetically, it could do great. However, again, only time will tell. Now, the second reason why I'm still buying Casper is because I believe that it's one of the best layer 1 blockchains out there. I mean, you got to think about how it has flexible deployment options. It can easily transition between a private, a public, and a hybrid network, which is kind of crazy to think about. But also on top of that, you have to take a look at how it's just a lot better than Ethereum as well, in my opinion, because first of all, you take a look at Ethereum, sky-high gas fees. It's arguably not even scalable, but when it comes to Casper, man, it doesn't have any of those issues. That's just the way I view it. Now, granted, there are many amazing Ethereum layer 2s out there that kind of combats this type of nonsense, but when it comes to Casper, it doesn't really need that. That's how amazing Casper is. Not to mention, when it comes to Casper, it's even focused on AI. Now, people may think, okay, some of the hype did kind of, die down when it comes to AI, but I think better days are ahead because even according to Grandview Research, the AI market is predicted to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030. So that's kind of insane right there. I mean, kind of ridiculous to think about. But that, in my opinion, again, I think visualizes the potential of AI. And I think it's so amazing. Now, not to mention, when it comes to Casper, it's an enterprise-grade layer 1 blockchain, meaning that it was actually built from the ground up to be adopted by enterprises. Now, some people may argue that, okay, when it comes to enterprise adoption, it's not going to happen like overnight or like in the next week, or even let alone like a mass scale enterprise adoption isn't going to happen like in the next year or so. I understand that. But here's the thing. It's not necessary in order for Casper to achieve hypothetical success, in my opinion, because sometimes the anticipation alone is already enough. And what I mean by this is like, for instance, we see a lot of gaming projects out there, a lot of metaverse projects, NFT projects. In some cases, they never launch what they even intend to launch. So like, for instance, sometimes we see like a metaverse project or like a gaming project, they never even launch like a game or like a metaverse. But then even just the, potential of it launching, let's say just the anticipation alone was already enough for its native token to just absolutely skyrocket. So when it comes to Casper, during a fully fledged bull run, like when the FOMO, when the buying pressure, when the buying volume is just at an all-time high, when people really focus on these like enterprise grade layer 1 blockchains, Casper, even though it may not have like large scale enterprise adoption at that time, it could already be enough, hypothetically, for the FOMO buying pressure and buying volume to kick in. So when it comes to Casper, man, it really has a bright future ahead. And the amazing thing about Casper as well is that it hasn't really gone mainstream yet. Casper is yet to do that, but I think it's actually a good thing. Because if I wait until Casper gets listed at a bunch of, more major exchanges, I would say, that's kind of not that great, because at that point, a lot of people already know about it. So they're probably like, acquiring Casper, and probably the price is a bit higher. So I think the way I take a look at it right now, I really don't mind that Casper doesn't have like the best exposure. Now, am I saying I want this forever? No. But for the time being, I don't mind, because if anything, I can actually accumulate more Casper at a lower price. So anyway I view it, I think it's fantastic. And when it comes to Casper as well, the ecosystem isn't bad. It has over 100 projects. So, it's not caca by any means. And some people out there, they may think that, oh yeah, when it comes to Casper, doesn't really have anything in its ecosystem. Now, is it the biggest out there? Absolutely not. But I think this right here is still not bad nonetheless. When it comes to Casper, it has these traits in a layer 1 blockchain that people often look for. Nowadays, people like a layer 1 blockchain that's fast. Casper is very fast. They like something that has low gas fees. Well, Casper has low gas fees. They also like something that's very scalable. And Casper does tick that box. Also, on top of that, people look for, these projects that are focused on AI. Well, isn't Casper also focused on AI? So I think it pretty much ticks all the boxes. But then, again, right, it's at a much lower point than like, for instance, like a Near protocol compared to like a Algorand, right? It's at a much lower point. So that's what I really like about Casper. Casper, in terms of fundamentals, it doesn't lose out to the big dog, so to speak. But then on the flip side, it's far lower. So it's a no-brainer pick for me. And the third and final reason is because a high tide raises all ships, in my opinion. Now, what do I mean by this? The way you take a look at it is that when Bitcoin reaches great heights, like let's say $150,000, and let's say the altcoin season is fully in fifth gear, when the buying pressure, the buying volume is just at an all-time high, I think naturally a lot of altcoins are going to do well. And I think at that point, Casper, it could very well join that ride. Again, a high tide raises all ships, if you know what I mean. Doesn't matter if it's a bad ship or a caca one, as long as it's floating, it's going to go along with the tide. You know what I mean, right? That's just an analogy though, but could you imagine just how crazy this bull run could be? There's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. You take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, and also the Ethereum ETF. Now, I personally would never acquire Ethereum, and also I think it's kind of caca compared to Casper, but even besides that, this is still massive news when it comes to the crypto space overall. So with sentiment potentially being that amazing, and sentiment already, being this amazing even as of right now, could you imagine, what it could do to Bitcoin? I think $150,000 during this bull run, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And again, I think as Bitcoin reaches those great heights, as altcoins do go along with the ride, I don't see why Casper won't as well. It's kind of crazy to think about how 10 cents is like around the 10x from here. It's kind of insane, right? It's just the way I view it is like, wow. But yeah, even besides that point, when I take a look at Casper again, reaching the price of $2, I don't see why not, especially with the bull run potentially being that amazing. And of course, my buying strategy is very simple. I've been acquiring Casper ever since 2021, by the way. One of my earliest videos ever is on Casper, and that's a verifiable fact. That's how much I love Casper, and I still haven't given up on it, because even though my other, holdings have done a lot better, like for instance, a Floki, Casper, right? Which kind of rhymes with Casper, but even besides that, even though again, a lot of my other holdings have done a lot better, I still haven't given up when it comes to Casper, because I still believe that brighter days are ahead. It's a sleeping giant in my opinion, and I really can't wait. ADA, Cardano's native token, it hovered a couple cents again for a very long time. Then one day it proved a lot of people wrong. So when it comes to Casper, only time will tell, but around 6 months from right now, a year from right now, I think things could be so different. That's why I'm staying patient. And I'm going to continue to dollar cost average at the Casper, because reaching the price of $2 during this bull run, That right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And I think that this spool run could be so fantastic. So I really can't wait. And by the way, feel free to also become a channel member. That way, you can get a prioritized response from me in the comments. And also you can use these cool badges, which I think is fantastic. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.